Well, here's the end of a barrel for a receiver. I don't do too many of them. I think I've only done 2 or 3 in my lifetime. It's a Badger Ordnance M2013. It's one of their big tactical action. This one we did 2 barrels for. This is the second one. This one's a 300 WSM. The first one was a 300 Win Mag. They shoot down in Brazil. This is for one of the Brazilian team F-class members. We just threaded the end of a barrel for 850-24 for one of Eric Cortina's V2 tuner brake adapters. I'll get this thing on here in a second. Three days later, anyway, we got it on. Like I said, this is 850-24. What the adapter does is it moves the brake, not the brake, but the tuner out away from the muzzle. They seem to be able to come in tune a lot better when that weight is out here suspended in front of the muzzle rather than flush with the muzzle. So most of the guns I build, I try to talk the shooters into the adapter to put their V2 tuner out here and the mass out in front of the muzzle. You can do it any way you want, but if you look at the rimfire guys, that's the way their guns are. If you look at almost all of the bench wrist shooters, that's the way their guns are, with the weight forward of the muzzle. And that's the way I would recommend it. Anyway, there's the front end of the barrel. I'll show you the tenon for this M2013. Kind of interesting. Well, here's the opposite end of that barrel. This is the M2013 tenon. The barrel shank length is 1 inch, 436 thousandths long. It's 1 inch and 16 threads, just like the Remington. But there are some long ones. If you want to practice your threading, this is the one to get. All the way to the shoulder. Anyways, you can see the hole through the barrel hasn't healed up. And anyway, what I'll show you guys next was the interesting part, how we bedded that 2013 is typically found in a chassis into a Kestrel stock with 2 big lugs on the bottom, 2 big extensions to their threads, and we'll show you that here just shortly. Well, boys, here's one you don't see every day. It's a Badger Ordnance M2013 action. We'll take it out of stock and let you see what we did to this little boy. The stock is a Macmillan Kestrel. We put one of the Graco 3-way butt plates on it. That's what the customer wanted. That's what the customer got. That big giant block of aluminum was fun to cut up. Luckily, I had my beautiful Grizzly bandsaw. They cut through it like butter. You can see how we had to cut stuck down to match the tang on the stock. We're going to leave it raw like that because it's going to be painted. Otherwise, we'd color fill it to match the colors there. Big loading port. We had to make a custom escutcheon for the bottom because this stock was originally inletted for a bat, and the already had a hole drilled through it that we had to fill. And of course, the front lug on the M2013 was in a different spot, so we had to be able to run the screw through one and cover the other existing hole up. That's why the custom carbon fiber escutcheon. We took 2 pieces of 1/8 inch carbon fiber, laminated it together, and then fixed her up. And we put one of the Bat Speedy radial head trigger guards in it. And of course, you guys recognize the radial screw like we had in the other video. And I'll set my camera up so that you can see some of the features about this action. Hold on a second, let me get this flashlight here. I want to show you else. So there's no single shot adapters for this thing, and I didn't want to charge the customer a couple of $100 to make one. So what we did, when we bedded it, we let the bedding come up through the existing magazine cutout, and then we reshaped it with an end mill to make our own loading ramp. And the painter can fill that up and paint it whatever color the customer wants, and it'll look like it was made for that. So I'll show you real quick with the bolt in the gun and how this thing sits. So you can see the bolt slides right over that cut. You can lay this gun's got two different barrels on it. One's a 300 Win Mag that they shoot down in Brazil. This is belongs to Reynaldo, a Brazilian F-class shooter. And this is a 300, so you see it sits right on the ramp that we generated. And it just feeds right in, comes right out the end, just like that. I'll demonstrate that one more time. Just throw the cartridge in there, push it forward. Well, there it is on the other side. So the way we get this little baby out of the stock, and I'll show you why it has to be this way. Use these two precision pieces of wooden dowels, not just any wooden dowel, precision wooden dowels.
And you too can have your own precision wooden dowel in 3 easy payments of $140.23. By today, this offer won't last long. Payments do not include shipping and handling. Buy your wooden dowel worry-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Call today at 1-800-THE-WOOD. That's right, 1-800-THE-WOOD. Act fast, limited quantities available.
We insert one in the front and one in the back. If had the barrel in here and the bolt, you could do it exactly the same way, but I'll show you why once I get this action out. It has to come straight up because the bottom of the action has two bosses protruding off the bottom of it where the guard screws go. And we'll wiggle it straight out. And here is a reason that we have to do it that way. As you can see, this action's got two bosses where the guard screws thread into it. And if you try to pull it out this way, you'll break the bedding around the front and the back, which in this case is going to be pretty hard to do because it's encased in a carbon fiber block, and you'll damage the whole bedding area if you do that. So best to just come straight out with it. You won't have any problems. Of course, it's got two recoil lugs, making it twice as hard to bed that nicely. Those two bosses didn't help either. Then it's got another recoil surface here on the tang. One thing I did not like about this action, it's got a breech plug in there which holds all the locking lugs and everything in place. It's aligned with this dowel pin right here. This front dowel pin not only holds the Picatinny rail in place since it's a flat top, it also holds that insert in place to keep it from rotating. I didn't like it rotating or moving or potentially falling out of the gun, so I glued it in. Badger may not like it, but I love it. So anyways, I'm going to once again turn the camera off and show you what we did here inside the bedding. And if you guys ever want to make one of these into a single shot, this is the way you do it. So here you go, guys. Here's the M2013 out of the stock. You can see where the G10 pillar comes through, sits underneath that little boss on the action. The boss has been relieved slightly around it because I don't really want it acting as a third and fourth recoil surface since we already got 5. The 2 recoil lugs, the 2 bosses, and the tang of the receiver. I don't mind the tang, and I don't mind the 2 recoil lugs in the front, but I surely do not want these bosses acting as a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th recoil surface in there. So I just slightly enlarge those things with our Freud Forstner drill. Works great, perfect. Just fits right in there like God made it, just like that. Yeah, just like that. You can see where we let the epoxy fill up the magazine cutout. I put 1 layer of tape all around it, coated it with honey wax, of course. Nothing sticks to it. If you're a criminal, that's what you want to coat yourself with before you went out and committed a crime, because none of the crimes would stick to you. Anyway, you can see that I relieved all around that stand-up. I used a 3-degree ball nose tapered end mill just to make sure that it had relief around it, so it would make it easier to put that in and out when you put the receiver in and out. We let the painter fill those little small air holes in there. In the front, you can see the other 2 recoil surfaces in here. And there again, right here and right here, we went in with that same 3-degree tapered ball nose end mill and made a little relief cut in the front of each one of these for clearance. That way, if the action needs to come up, it's not binding in there with this other recoil surface back here in the back. And you can see our trigger cut out here, no safety. If they want a safety, or if they require safety, they can get themselves a Bixenandy bottom safety trigger. So I'll flip it over 1 more time. You see what we did on the bottom, and then we'll call it a day. So like the other day, we inletted the rear of the action for the Bat Speedy radial head single guard screw trigger guard. And the radial screw, as you can see, it fits right in there again, like a glove. And on the front, you can see, I'll use the 3-degree tapered ball nose end mill. You can see where the Bat front guard screw came through. And you can see where we put the G10. I can zoom in on this, maybe. There you go. That was the old Bat Model M, or 3L, whichever one it was, down there. And then here's our G10 front guard screw for the Badger. And then we made this custom oval shape carbon fiber trigger guard to match the rest of the hardware in the stock. So when we move to the front, we'll see the carbon fiber tunnel that we installed into that. An 1/8 inch thick carbon fiber plate. It undercuts either side of that with a T-slot cutter. You can buy those from Harvey Tool, 1 inch in diameter, 1/8 inch thick. Not expensive, but they last forever. This little boy right here, in case you want to make one, we start out with a piece of, or 2 pieces of 1/8 inch carbon fiber, laminated them together, machined it down to 7/8 or 875 thousandths. And then with a 7/8 cutter, we start here at 0. We started here at 0 with the 1/8 inch cutter, moved out 250 thousandths, came back, moved back 250 thousandths. That made that oval shaped cut right there. And then we just used a radius gauge to generate the shape of either end, put it on the grinder, and just ground it to fit. Looks pretty shiny. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. But anyway, I just wanted to show you something that I don't see very often. And if I don't see it very often, maybe some of you FTR guys or PRS guys see the 2013s quite often, but I don't. There again, there's the butt plate. Came out pretty nice. Pretty nice from just almost a big square block of aluminum. Wound up fitting that stock like it was made for it. And it was. Speedy Gonzalez saying, keep them small. That's all.